Yeah. No. Yeah. We're good. Yeah. We're good, Dan. All right, I'm recording. Let's roll. We're back. Let's get the energy up, Dan. You know?
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. I'm ready.
That's fine. My time is now. You can't see me. My time is now. It's the
franchise on shining now.
You can't see me. My time is now. In case you forgot or fell off, I'm still hot. Knock your shell off. My money stacked fat, plus I can't turn the swell off. The franchise doing big business. I live this. It's automatic. I win this. So you hear those horns, you finish. A soldier, and I stay under you fighting. Plus I'm storming on you chumps like I'm thunder and lightning. Ain't no way you breaking me, kid. I'm harder than nails. Plus I keep it on lock like I'm part of the jail. I'm slaughtering stale.
Hot hip-hop back. Real hip-hop back right now.
Do you know Time? This is actually one of the biggest hip-hop songs probably ever. Like, I'm actually not exaggerating. Think about it.
You know what?
For 15 years, every night, well, twice a week, 30,000 plus people would go crazy listening to this song. Plus,
I don't begrudge it.
He went double platinum, Dan. His album went double platinum.
I like John Cena. I think he's the best of all the wrestler turned actors. John Cena, then Batista, then The Rock. Dude, did you watch Peacemaker?
Yes, I did.
He carried that franchise, man.
Batista's really good.
Yeah, Batista is really good. He's a close second. I give him a close second. There's a scene that was going around where John Cena was from Peacemaker, where he was freestyling. He was just ad-libbing. I think he was listing celebrities. It was just ad-libbing. And then the director says, yeah, and he completely ad-libbed there, and we just kept the cut. I was like, yeah. Shout out John Cena, man. Listen.
Oh, Dan. Hold up. We have breaking news. Breaking news, Dan.
There's a new pope.
We've got a new popey in the building. Leo.
The funniest in this whole saga about the Pope, the funniest thing I saw was Newcastle dropped their squad announcement, and their goalkeeper was his name's obviously Pope, and you know the news had just dropped. And you know people were very somber about it, and some dude, you know, football troll Twitter. I love it. It's so bad, but I love it. Some dude, he just basically updates and he says like, "Yo, you got to update your squad list," and it just landed so perfectly, went ultra viral, and I thought it was hilarious. But anyway, new Pope dropped. It's not the African one. We move.
So. Back to why I was playing that theme music. And do you know why I was playing the John Cena theme song?
Because your time is now.
That is indeed correct. My time is now. But it was also recently, granted, we've taken a few weeks off. A lot was happening. There was ZITF. There were some movements and so forth. So it's been a few hectic weeks, but we're back. Shout out to all y'all who've been clamoring for us. You know, we missed you. Thank you so much for the support. But the reason I played that, Dan, is 2 weeks ago. It was WrestleMania. And John Cena, in his last year, became the most successful champion in WWE history, defeating Corey Rhodes at the WWE main event. And to everyone's surprise and chagrin, The Rock was nowhere to be found. Don't know if you know, there's a little bit of drama and intrigue, like actual real drama and intrigue, not just the one they manufacture in WWE. So The Rock and Triple H are beefing. So The Rock was like, "It's fine, I won't come." And he was like, "He didn't bomb that. We'll still do the numbers." And yeah, they're doing the numbers without The Rock. So yeah. But also The Rock actually has an A24 movie about to drop. Did you see it?
I actively avoid. I did see. Actually, you know what? I did see it. Isn't it about
One of the early UFC fighters, yeah.
Yes, one of the early UFC fighters, and he looks completely unrecognizable in all the in the early early releases.
A lot of people are like, this is a few people on Reddit. Let me not say a lot. A few people on Reddit I saw that were talking about it were like, we're gonna have to revisit that debate about the best wrestler turned actor after this. Because The Rock is finally showing some range.
The four horsemen of, I'm skipping that movie. The Rock, Gal Gadot, Kevin Hart, Jack Black.
Are
you going to watch the Minecraft movie, Phil?
Of course not. No, Jack Black, definitely. Jack Black, I'm trying to think, when was the last Jack Black movie? What's the last Jack Black movie I watched that I enjoyed?
Same.
The first Jumanji.
Jack Black was
fun. The first
fun.
Jumanji was actually fun. The first Jumanji was fun. I enjoyed the first Jumanji. And the first Jumanji had 3 of the 4. So the first Jumanji was fun. Kevin Hart, I've now realized, Kevin Hart, you've got to know what the role entails. And you can just tell from the trailer, if he's just going to be doing his typical, like Kevin Hart has 2 modes, which is very frustrating. Kevin Hart is I need to cross whatever threshold he's trying to cross. And you're like, why are you taking this movie? This is a bad movie. And he's just doing the same character over and over again. But every once in a while, Kevin Hart picks a project where he knocks it out of the park. Like that show he did with Wesley Snipes, incredible. That movie he did on Netflix about being a single father, incredible. I didn't really watch the remake of the French movie that he did with Bryan Cranston because I'd already watched the French version and I really liked that one. It's also got the guy from Lupin.
It was not bad. I watched that. It was good.
Then he recently did another film. Like I watched it just now. That was really dope. Then he'll do the fluff like Die Hard and Airplane. Was it Airplane? No, Plane Heists. Heist Plane, whatever. It was so forgettable.
Did you watch Night School?
No. Oh no, I didn't watch that. I didn't even watch that one.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
I think I watched like the first 10 minutes. I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. There's another one he did where like they robbing a plane, but it was so bad and forgettable. I don't even remember like what happened in the movie. But
Lift.
But the Rock.
Okay. Yeah. I'm being a little bit harsh on Kevin Hart. I just grouped him in because of Dwayne Johnson.
But you know the weird thing is, right? The annoying thing is The Rock is done it in reverse. You know, like normally actors do the cheesy junk food movie to get famous, and then they start taking the proper dramatic roles. Yeah. The Rock did it the other way around. Remember, like when he was trying to break into Hollywood, he was doing real acting, and then he went back, started pumping himself with Lord knows how many steroids. He became huge, and then now all he does is brood. Just, So what was the last good Rock movie I watched? That one when he's coaching the kids? That was like 10 years ago. 15 years ago? How many years ago was that? That was a good movie. Then the one where he's the fairy for his daughter. Toothless.
Is it called Toothless?
Something like that, yeah. Remember there was that phase where actually it's not a phase. I don't know if it's a rite of passage or it's to show off their range, but like every leading man, like an action leading man in Hollywood, they always do a very child-friendly, let me show off my soft side movie. Like, I think the greatest one of all is Kindergarten Cop. I saw it on Netflix like 2 weeks ago. I watched it. I was going word for word. I love that movie to death. That's one of the best movies of it. It's so ridiculous. It's one of the greatest movies.
I'm gonna list for you the Rock's recent filmography.
Okay, let me run through this girly movie thing.
Because you're going really far back. Yeah. There were some good movies. That's why he built such a big name for himself.
Vin Diesel also did a movie where he was like babysitting kids or something. And then Jason Statham did a similar one. They all done it. It's weird. It's like, like this is like the white action equivalent of black men having to wear a dress in Hollywood.
Okay, listen to this. Listen to this. All right,
okay, let's go.
Moana 2. I haven't watched Moana 2. I assume it's probably a good animated show, animated movie. Red One.
Red One, yeah, was not good.
Once Upon a Studio. It's
Don't even know about that one.
Fast X.
Okay, fell asleep in that one. That was the space one, right? Yeah, that was terrible.
Black Adam.
That was, oh gosh. We are going to, what did he say? This is a shift in the movie.
Oh, yeah, shifting. Yeah. Red Notice. That was so bad. It was so bad.
No, Red One was the Christmas movie, right?
Yes.
I didn't even watch that one. I saw the trailer. I was like, I'm watching this.
Yeah,
Red Notice was
another.
Netflix is really bad at making action movies.
Yep.
Netflix
Jungle Cruise.
No, I did watch that one. It was bad. It was bad. Yeah.
Jumanji: The Next Level.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I didn't like that one.
Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Really bad. Really bad.
Then Shazam, obviously just had a cameo. Fighting with My Family.
Don't even know that one is. What?
Apparently biographical sports comedy drama. Skyscraper.
Oh, that was really bad. I actually watched that at the movies. I remember that one. That was really bad.
Rampage.
Also bad. Also a bad movie. Rampage
Jumanji,
and Skyscraper were pretty much the same movie. The only difference is one had a giant gorilla.
It was the same movie in the same year. Then Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
That was good. That was fun. That was a fun movie. I enjoyed that one. And I watched it in 4DX as well. That was good.
It was okay. It wasn't bad. It was kind of fun, I will say. So let's say from 2018 to date, every movie I've mentioned that he has starred in is garbage.
But so pull up. Let's go to hold on. While you do that, let's go to Box Office Mojo. This is a fun exercise. This is a fun.
Our listeners can tell that we have really in-depth topics to discuss
we
today.
We actually do have quite a bit to discuss. But this is I sent Dan some links. I was like, I think some of these discussions are fun. Let's see. No, damn it! It took me to The Rock, the movie, not The Rock, the actor. Okay,
just say Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson. Here we go. Oh snap! I need IMDb Pro to access this.
What do you want to check?
I want to see The Rock's movies box office gross. Let's see. It should come up now. Okay, we've got the highest grossing. We don't have the latest ones. And I'm not trusting AI because it'll just give me some more fake numbers. So let's see. So I've got the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, wait, we've got a paywall. Give me a second. Let me just get around this paywall. Guys, your paywalls mean nothing to us, okay?
Are you using 12-foot or...
even just take it to Perplexity or Gemini. I've got a gem that just summarizes the article for me. Or, the other trick, I saw someone sharing this trick on, was it on Twitter or TikTok? They were like, yeah, when you get to a paywall, just load the app. And then before it loads the cookies, go into airplane mode. I'm like, do you understand how inconvenient that is?
Anyway, my point is, if I see a movie has Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in it, as much as I used to be a fan of him in movies, because, action movie, it was a thing. In the last 7 years, there hasn't been a single good one. I challenge anyone to tell me different. Anyway, same with Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot has never had a good movie.
I don't think I don't know. Someone said Wonder Woman was a surprise success because the character is awkward and doesn't know how to behave and is weird around people. And so it was like just this rare sort of.
I think I watched that YouTube. There was a YouTube essay that said this.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I saw it, but yeah. Aha, here we go. Okay, so it's top 10. The number 10 is The Mummy from 2001. Jeez, that's a long time ago. 24 years ago. 400 million. Mm-hmm. San Andreas, 2015. 474 million.
10 years ago.
Fast 5, 624. How many Fast Furious movies do you think I need? Because his first appearance in the Fast franchise was in Fast 5. So he's got 5 options in his...
You're describing 400 and something million?
No, Fast 5 is 600. 620. Because remember, this is when they started doing the China.
There's 4 Fast movies in there.
Okay, so we had 1. At number 8, we've got 1. I'm counting. At number 7, we got Moana. 660.
Mhm.
Moana's actually good. I'm not going to lie. Number 6, we got another Fast and Furious. Hobbs and Shaw. 760 million. Okay, so that's 2. At number 5, Fast and Furious 6. 778. At number
So we're on
4, we've
3.
got Jumanji, Next Level, 800 million. At 3, we've got Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. What? It almost did $1 billion, 962. At number 2, we've got The Fate of the Furious. We had 4. We're going to get to 5, I think. Yep. And number 1, Furious 7, 1.5 billion.
So all 5.
This man's career is really being held up by Vin Diesel.
Let me tell you guys something. John Cena is the best wrestler turned actor. Close second, Batista. Not even that close, but close-ish. Anyway, let's move on, Philip. Let's move on. We haven't even actually
started the show.
So yeah, just to get the energy right, just to get us in the mode, we're gonna do what we normally do. I mean, we're gonna retire this AI intro soon, I think. But
I think we should do it now. I'm tired of it. I don't think.
Okay, this is the last time. This is the last time, guys. Here you go.
Jump up in the club, everybody gather round. 2 broke Twimbos in the town. Listen close to the sound. I need that guy and feel charged. Baby, bringing the fun. With your podcast vibes, we not stop till the morning sun. Every episode got me laughing, can't control my smile. Talking about the latest news with their unique style. From Zimbabwe to the world, they spreading good vibes, keeping it real and entertaining. They're on the rise. 2 broke Twimbos, bring the heat to the floor. Everybody get guy and feel charged in control. We gonna keep moving to the podcast flow. Oh yeah. We gonna keep moving to the podcast flow. Oh yeah.
Hey. It's good to be back. Hey, we want to apologize for leaving you high and dry for 2 weeks. And no, this will not be a hat trick. All right. As the haters are asking, no, we are here. And we are here to make sure that you are going to be informed and entertained like the BBC in 1980, whatever it was.
In 91? Under Thatcher. What are you talking about?
Yeah, this is such a deep cut. Okay, so much of global training for radio originated with the BBC. And the BBC's mantra for what radio should be is educate, entertain, inform. So many radio stations all around the world have that as a basic standard for what radio should be. Educate, entertain, inform. So, when I mentioned those, I mentioned entertain and inform.
My question is, what are they entertaining and informing? Because BBC was used as a propaganda tool for imperialism.
What? Phil, are you telling me that media, especially state media, was used as a propaganda tool? What? This is shocking information.
I mean, to a Zimbabwean, this might catch you off guard, but yes, it is true.
State media was used as propaganda tool. What? Anyway, we need the energy right. I can feel it, we've been away for too long. And you might not be.
Good to go.
But Phil, I need you to be.
Good to go.
Not just you, but the listeners also need to be.
Good to go.
So I have to ask, are you?
Good to go.
Are you?
Good to go.
Sound of it, thing them.
Yes, Dan, I am.
Let me hear a drum.
Are you?
I am. Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast. This is 2 Broke Twimbos. Welcome to it. My name is Danny That Guy, a.k.a. Danos the Mad Titan, a.k.a. Denford Wegumaraini, a.k.a. Denimbi, my life, your entertainment, a.k.a. I'm done with these streets.
You forgot one. Or have you nixed it?
No, I didn't. I was just about to mention, how, send 100 gorillas to take me. Send 100 gorillas to take me, son. I joined the gym last week, Phil. I'm feeling pumped.
You forgot.
Send 100 gorillas for me.
You forgot.
Okay, hakuna movement didn't move.
Okay, there we go. All right. And he's able to know the unmistakable, the irrefutable, the palpable, the palpable, the convene on the white belt cannibal. Phil Child, aka Flip Floss, the big boss, aka Feeds Up, aka Sexy Novo, aka Filthy Phil, aka Please Don't Destroy My Vehicle Musk, aka Filthy Phil, and of course, Shamari Tengro Drink. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. You good? You good? You good? Let's get it going. Let's get it going. Did you miss us? I missed you.
Let's get it going. Let's keep it moving. So here's the situation. We're going to start off the podcast today by celebrating some Zimbabweans doing big things around the world. We call this segment Africans Doing It Big, but more often than not, it's Zimbabweans who are doing big things around the world. But we're going to remember some Africans. Don't worry about it. Let me start off by mentioning in the world of athletics, Zimbabwe's very own Tinashe Mila Kamangirira clinched the gold in the 400-meter hurdles at the Drake Relays. This happened in Des Moines this past Saturday. The women's 400-meter hurdles, she hit a time of 56.07 seconds to take the lead and the win. So shout out to Tinashe Mila Kamangirira, who, despite being born and raised in the United States, I'm reliably informed, continues to remain deeply connected to her Zimbabwean roots. Congratulations, Tinashe.
And I see how she does that by being an athlete, because the best way to stay connected to Zimbabwe is to run. Just keep running. And never return.
And shout out to, I didn't say who, you know who you are in our Patreon group who shared that Zimbabwean Doing It Big. Let's move on to someone who we have mentioned on the show before, Zimbabwean trailblazing filmmaker who goes by the name of Zoe Ramushu, friend of the podcast in the sense that we know her kind of. She will be attending the Cannes Film Festival, where she is nominated for the 2025 Global Production Award. So shout out to her. She's now based in South Africa, but of course she proudly reps Zimbabwe. And she's got this nomination. Congratulations to her. I'm trying to look at the name of the film. The film that got her nominated. I cannot find it anywhere. Let me read this helpful paragraph, courtesy of Greedy South. Ramushu's journey and impact work has been a long and meaningful one. From founding the Women in Film organization SWIFT in South Africa, to leading student protests at Columbia Journalism School, to creating the Chiriseri test, a diversity guide for newsrooms. What? While she was a Reuters Institute fellow at Oxford, this led her to the creation of Wrapped. And I think Wrapped is what she
invented rap? That's great. That's dope, man.
Anyway, she has previously been nominated for the Student Oscars and the BAFTAs. And her production company has created several award-winning films, the latest being a Netflix feature film called Real Estate Sisters. So congratulations to Zoe Ramushu on the award nomination and the feature at Cannes Film Festival.
Can you do that? Can you do that? Can you do that?
The festival and ceremony will be held on May the 19th in Cannes. So we'll find out if she receives the award, and maybe we'll get some behind the scenes information there as well.
Oui, ça fait bien.
So Phil, hey, let me take this opportunity to speak to our listeners directly. Hey, you listener, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. 2 weeks ago, I was in Bulawayo for ZITF. I was there for the whole week. I intended on doing a live experience of what ZITF is like. So I was going to record myself, like at the end of each day, and just give you my thoughts. I thought it would just be like a short little bonus episode that we could release, maybe like 10, 15 minutes of me just doing my quick impressions of each day at ZITF. I recorded the first one. And then I was so busy the whole week, I couldn't record any. It was literally get home and pass out and then start again early morning the next day with a breakfast at Hefeli's and then on to ZITF. So look, I apologize. And then last week, We had other life things that were lifing, so we were unable to give you another episode. So we are, however, back. And I would like to tell you that I never got to say this last week, Phil, but ZITF genuinely surprised me. It's bigger than I thought it was.
That's what she said.
And the amount of money that is being spent by some companies, literally budgets of hundreds of thousands of dollars for their stands and setups. So let me tell you the main companies that were spending like crazy. The MNOs are like going, it's basically Net1 versus Econet are fighting each year to see who has the biggest and most ostentatious and most crazy stand. The Econet stand was insane.
If only they were fighting each other on who could provide the best network.
Phil, the Econet stand was insane. It was insane. I was like, yo, how much money did you spend on this, man? And they had like VR stations and it was crazy. The Net1 one, I think the Econet edged it, but the Net1 one was also like, it was insane. It was huge. Liquid was again, pretty big budget. Then all the embassies. So probably the most impressive was the Belarus embassy.
Belarus?
They brought a bunch of Belarusian baddies who were manning the stand there. And it was huge.
They had some BBs?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Without the L's. And then the European Union, which I was doing some work for as well. The British Embassy. Insane. Huge budgets. Japan had a tiny little store. And it was right in between. It was like in between the British Embassy, US Embassy. Okay, you could see that they're clearly running a lot on last year's budget. Let me improve how much for Zimbabwe? Anyway, the point is, I was quite impressed by how much money is spent at ZITF and how big some of the stands were. And then I was obviously there with ZFM. So, you know, we was representing, we were doing our thing. Most companies, I will say, seem to just send the bare minimum, but a few go all out. And the age-old debate is it worth it? Like, is it worth going there? I think a lot of people get deals done there, man. I think a lot of clients and potential vendors and all of that get locked in at ZITF, and people really be showcasing. But if you're just going small, I don't think so. If you're looking for businesses, I think it's worth going. Then obviously there's the official opening when the president comes around. The protocols are a lot.
Well, we've dealt with them before. One time, you know what? I can't say it on air, but I'll tell you. Remind me to tell you a story about an experience in Bulawayo once. I can't say it on air, but I was just like, I shouldn't be this close to someone this powerful.
Yeah. Then, okay.
Not that I do anything, just to make sure, just in case they're listening. Not that I do anything. I just feel like without security clearance and protocol and so forth and so on, if I'm not meant to meet that individual, I shouldn't be this close to them. That's all I'll say.
I completely understand that, because I've thought that before. Like, hang on, no one checked me. I don't have anything. I'm not going to do anything, but no one checked me. How am I here? Anyway, the other thing is, so, okay, 10 years ago, me would have thrived during ZITF because obviously nightlife is thriving during the week. Everyone is in town, blah, blah, blah. But the only very brief experience I had with it, because what we did is we went, so ZFM was hosting an old school party on the Friday. Then a couple of times we went to get like dinner at Smokehouse or King's Crawl. Then...
How was your service at King's Crawl?
It's fine.
Okay.
I don't recall
I've been there twice. It's been horrendous. This one time it was so bad, like we left.
The bad service.
Like they took forever. Like oxtail came cold. It was just wild.
Honestly, I don't even really recall. yeah, so I mean, you know, the nightlife was thriving, you know? It was like, yo, it's an interesting, I would genuinely love to know if companies benefit. Like, are you just going there because you kind of have to, or it's like a vanity thing, or do you genuinely benefit? And I think they do. I think they do, especially the big companies. Anyway, so that's where I was. I thought that I'd share that with you. Phil, let's talk about some things that we had prepared to talk about this week.
So let's start off with the deep research we've done. You know, in fact, the deep research, and I'm gonna actually let me load up the deep research here on. Let me burn some forests on this one.
Phil, as you know, I was gonna say, as you know, Phil, this is a. We would like to say that this is an intellectual podcast, cerebral, some might say.
We are thinkers. Yeah, we're nothing if not thinkers, really.
We like to titillate the mind, to stimulate your medulla oblongata.
In your life.
And this is why sometimes we like to get into like more in-depth topics, and sometimes we like to talk about stuff that, look, frankly, if you don't have, you know, a certain IQ level, you might be listening like, what are you guys even talking about? Oh, there they go again, these nerds. So please allow me to apologize as I divert or direct this conversation very briefly towards a more cerebral topic. Who do you think had the best and worst look at the Met Gala?
Best look, Pusha T. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay. Worst, I don't know. Actually, I haven't seen that many photos. I didn't even know the Met Gala was happening until I saw the photos. And I've been barely on social media these past few days.
So I'm looking at them live now.
This is a great topic for podcast, an audio podcast, by the way.
Phil, we've done fashion on here before. I think we can very clearly just do what we do. Okay. Rihanna soft launched her pregnancy, baby number 3. Shout out to Rihanna. Lewis Hamilton looks like he was on the set of Peaky Blinders. Wait,
what is, I think the theme was dandies. What is the theme?
Black dandyism.
That's actually, I like that theme. Actually, that's dope.
Yeah. So that's why you'll see a lot of like tailored suits. I think the official theme, let me just quickly look it up. The official theme was Superfine, tailoring black style. And it was, in the explanation, says, takes the black dandy as its subject, examining the importance of clothing and style to the formation of black identities in the Atlantic diaspora. So, black dandy, I think dandies were, I mean, everything goes back to old, like the slavery period. And I think there were certain black people who were not allowed to wear certain things. And then they were the ones that, you know, created looks based with what was allowed and what wasn't allowed. I don't know, some in-depth explanation like that. But, you know, here's a very deep and rich theme. And I think it allowed for so much expression. The gentleman could have come through with all kinds of tailored suits. I'm not shading Lewis Hamilton, by the way. He did look quite dashing. Pharrell, who was one of the co-directors, I believe, looked good. Let me see. I'm quickly scrolling through the looks. Hey, Lala Anthony, come through, mommy. Hey, Tiana Taylor, girl. Woo-hoo. Tiana looked good. Ooh, Zendaya looking good. Looking good. Okay. Scrolling through more looks here. How do I do this? There's 307 pictures here. I can't go through all of them.
Okay. Let's move on to the next topic then. It's okay.
Wait, I can vote? Okay, never mind. Anyway, Met Gala stuff. Cool. Phil, that was obviously a joke. I'm going to be serious now. It is true that we sometimes try to get a more cerebral, academic, intelligent, if you will, look on life. And I think our listeners have come to expect a certain level of analysis from us, especially on some hard to understand topics that exist in the world. So I would like to introduce another one to you, Phil. What is your take? Could 100 determined dudes defeat a gorilla in a fight?
If If you somehow got the Tesseract and you used it to mind control 100 men so that they have no fear and they tap into that part of the brain that allows mothers to lift a car. Maybe. But the question is how? If they have no weapons, what would they do? Like, do you know how thick a gorilla's skin is?
Okay. Let's wait. So this is obviously a stupid debate. It takes us back to high school. It's, recess or break time, or you're in the break room, whatever it is, right? And you're having a nonsense debate that obviously is not grounded in real life, but the purpose is just a debate for debate's sake. So there's a lot of hypotheticals that we have to include and assume. So yes, in the real world, we're going to have to think about, but what happens if a man sees, but gorillas are actually really peace-loving, so will they really want to go through with it? And I completely understand all of that. But for the purpose of this mindless and pointless debate, let's assume the gorilla is 100% bent on killing whatever's in front of it. And let's assume that all 100 men are 100% determined and will not be dissuaded by watching their colleagues being dismembered in real time in front of them. Could, in this hypothetical scenario, which will never happen in real life, could 100 men, determined-ass men, take on one
No, they
murderous
cannot.
gorilla?
Because the argument people keep saying is, the fatigue factor. Cool. When the gorilla is fatigued and you guys are still attacking, because you have no weapons, right? You're barehanding it. Unless you're picking up the dismembered bones of guys like 1 through 20 and using their femur as a club, right? You have no weapons. You just close fisting it. Bah, 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 bah. That gorilla is just swatting you away because these love taps. Bah, bah, bah.
Okay, I hear you, Phil.
What are you going to do? That's what I don't know. Like, once the gorilla gets tired, what you going to poke it in the eye? Is that it?
Okay. So, this debate has already been had to death. I didn't say anything online because I have a podcast, so I will take it up now. It's not a simple answer. This is why this has been such a huge debate, right? And there's so many hypotheticals. But taking those hypotheticals into account, 100 barehanded men who are fully determined and one fully murderous gorilla. On the one hand, you're right. How would you do damage? How would you take away HP from this gorilla? Is a valid question. Does it feel your punches? Probably not. Does it feel 100 people's punches? I don't know. Bites, kicks. I feel like at some point there'll be some damage done. 1. 2, obviously not 100 can grab it at the same time. We have spatial constraints to take into consideration. Mm-hmm. So it'll probably be like 20 at a time with the next 20 just behind waiting for the next head to be screwed off. Completely understand. On the other hand, right? Obviously this gorilla is powerful as anything, but 100 people, guys, come on, guys.
No,
you're telling me it will just completely
what are
mow
the 100
down?
people going to do? Like, are they going to start curb stomping the gorilla? Is that what they're going to do? Like, jump from the top rope and just stomp him, just bah, frog splash, bah.
Okay, let's say like 20 of those men, they do nyaope, right? And then we have like another 20. They're on, they're on Bronco. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You don't feel pain. Okay. I agree with the sentiment. What meaningful damage to the HP of the gorilla would you do as humans? I get that. But I think even those tiny, inconsequential, weak punches will eventually start having an effect at some point. That's what I think.
Yeah, the question is, at which point? Is this at man number 15 or man number 75?
So there's a guy named Caleb. He claims that he has a degree specifically in monkeys. So he gives his...
So he's a monkeyologist. So
he gives
is it fair to say at school he was monkeying around. Oh, Dan. Oh, yes. The deep research. As we think, do Caleb's thing, then I'll go through. Ish.
Was it on this?
Oh, this is detailed. Oh my God, there's even a table. So many trees were lost for this.
Is that on Gemini?
Yo, this is deep research. This is a lot of words. Good
So
Lord.
listen, he gives a little bit of background in terms of what are the families and the genuses and whatever of gorillas. Then he says, in my opinion, most people drastically overestimate the size, strength, intelligence, endurance, and aggressiveness of the gorilla. Don't get me wrong, they're incredibly powerful animals, but that it was a debate whether a grizzly could beat one is ridiculous. I assume that means a grizzly would obviously beat it. On average, a male silverback weighs in at around 300, 400 pounds, which is basically 150, 200 kilograms. At the largest reach up 600 pounds. They are probably 4 to 5 times stronger than the average man who works out. That's me, by the way. But this isn't enough to just rip apart every man instantaneously before a couple guys on each limb are able to restrain him. So, look, 5 guys per arm, 5 guys per leg. It can be done.
5 guys, dude, Dan. And this is what people forget. Have you
And
seen?
I hear you.
No, Dan. Have you seen how strong a gorilla is? A gorilla,
It's 4 to 5 times stronger than a man.
So a gorilla is 4 times stronger than a man. So you need the extra man just to overcome it. But Dan, not all those men are pulling in unison. What are they gripping on that arm? Like, are they gripping the same part? Do they have leverage? Do they have torque? What's their weight? That gorilla is just going to lift them with one hand and throw them. And then
So what you do is you take the intestines of the first 5 guys, you tie them together to make a rope.
Yeah, you're gonna have time while that gorilla is just Donkey Kong swinging through everyone. Like Rampage, it's literally the real life version of Rampage, and there's no rock in this movie. It's just fam. Mighty Joe Young ain't gonna wait for you. Okay, so let's get.
This guy says, listen to what this guy says. So he says the gorilla wouldn't be able to just rip apart every man that's trying to restrain it. And even so, he'd likely tire out fairly quickly relative to humans who have kind of maxed out our cardio endurance in exchange for the strength that other apes have retained. An exhausted gorilla would struggle to fight like 7 guys, let alone dozens. I think 30 to 40 men would probably be enough to take on the average silverback. And that's all assuming he has a counter-instinctual bloodlust rather than fleeing from a large group of aggressors. I've seen a lot of people argue it's impossible for us to hurt the gorilla, but we're their 3rd closest relative and share a lot of our weaknesses. Denser muscle, thicker skin maybe, but not at all immune to blunt force from fists, kicks, especially in soft places, like the face, neck, internal organs, groin, and rupturing a vital artery is definitely on the table with enough manpower. They're not going to tank every single hit like a polar bear, for example. If the gorilla was fighting with maximally efficient tactics, I'd maybe give it a higher threshold of men it could take on, but they're generally regarded as the least intelligent great apes by primatologists. So just letting you know what this person who has a degree in monkey business says.
Okay, let's go back to the deep research. This is a lot of words, so I'm skipping all the way to the end. So it goes here. The likely victor, a qualified assessment. The evidence strongly suggests that 100 unarmed grown men would eventually likely defeat a single adult male silverback gorilla. This conclusion is not a testament to individual human combat prowess against such a formidable animal, but rather a consequence of overwhelming numerical superiority coupled with critical biological advantage and endurance. Right. Then it goes on to the human toll, a Pyrrhic victory. The cost to the human participants in achieving such a victory would be nothing short of catastrophic. Expert estimations consistently point to dozens of deaths or catastrophic injuries. The first men to engage the gorilla would face an almost certain fate of death.
I mean, we expect that. We knew that already.
Due to the animal's devastating bites, powerful strikes capable of fracturing bones and crushing. Even as it weakens, a cornered and wounded gorilla would fight with ferocious intensity until his very last breath, continuing to inflict severe injuries on its attackers. The term Pyrrhic victory aptly describes such an outcome, where the losses incurred are so devastating as to negate or overshadow the achievement of the object.
Anyway,
why
it's
is Gemini so dramatic? Like Gemini is really dramatic, yo.
let me take this opportunity to say, there's some people who take life super seriously. This is not a serious debate. It doesn't need a think piece. It doesn't need you to come in and say, this is why men.
This is a Roman Empire. What are you saying?
It's nonsense fun that doesn't mean anything. It's not. And on cue, there came the class monitors to come and tell you why this is an indication.
Did you just call someone a class monitor? How quickly they forget.
Is this necessary? My point is, it's nonsense. It's not even about, oh, you guys are right. It's just a pointless nonsense debate. Say your thoughts and your views and move on. There's no right or wrong answer because it's purely hypothetical. Just say your part in the debate and move on. If you're not interested, it's okay. Move on. Let people have their fun. Hi. Anyway. Phil, let's move on. So there's a story going on with Scott's Mapuma. I saw it all over our Patreon group and I wanted to comment, but I was also like, I don't know what's happening. So can you give me some background information about Scott's Mapuma is an Amapiano person, right?
Mm-hmm. He is indeed.
I know his name is on Biri Marung.
Mm-hmm.
That's as much as I know about him. What is the whole story and the whole saga going on with
Basically,
him?
Scott's Mapuma did a couple of interviews. He's also on his social media, yeah? He's been like, I don't like being famous. People don't understand. Sometimes I don't want to take pics. Why do these people hound me? Why don't they give me their freedom? And then he did an interview on an unnamed podcast where he was also just saying like, yo, being famous is tough. All these people want to take photos with you. I don't want to take photos with people. That's not my thing. And fans were now like, oh, okay, like we've been seeing you. He's kind of been who's that awkward chaperoning. He's been kind of like chaperoning it, but they were like, you don't have the catalog chaperone has.
He's basically saying he doesn't want fans. Stay away from me. Don't ask me for pictures.
Yeah,
And they were like, bet. Cool. If that's what you want, loud and clear. And then my man did Cotton Fest and came out to a crowd doing the mannequin challenge. And I'm like, ooh. Then I think it happened again at another event. I forget the name. Let me pull it up actually because I did see this. It was at I want to make sure we get this right. Yeah, it was at Coyote's Lounge in Bombela. And then now, as of recording, we just see Vogue Lounge just released a statement saying that, yeah, we've heard your guys' public cries and we're taking Scott's Mapuma off the lineup. And in all my days, like outside of committing a crime, I've never seen this. Like, I've never seen someone get basically blackballed and they're publicly blackballing you because you're not likable anymore.
Is he okay? So my only question here is he genuinely not likable, or is this another case of this like internet thing of everything taken out of context and agendas and blah 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 blah?
I think the thing it's not a new. What he said was not a new thing. He's been saying that mantra for a while. So like even fans are like, okay, you've been saying this for a while. I bet if that's how you feel, message received loud and clear.
Well, I feel very little pity.
The wild part is like my guy, like you were on a good trajectory. It's also ironic because it kind of falls in line with the discussion we're having about why Amapiano is struggling and some of the mentality that Amapiano acts and managers have. And this is another example of it. It's like fame isn't free, you know? And I think sometimes people forget that like fame is not free.
Mm.
Like there's a cost to being famous. And it's a catch-22. Like, do you want the fame? And when you're an entertainer, you can't really have both unless you're an incredible producer, you're an incredible arranger, but you're not going to have as much money. like the advantage and disadvantage of being the front man, being the face of the musical brand, is you get the big bucks. But in exchange for the big bucks, you've got to be patient. I was even listening to a Tony Robbins interview. This is where my life is at right now, Dan. I'm listening to Tony Robbins interviews and mantras. This is where I'm at.
You know what? I'm tuning Ngubi. You have a lot to pay for, my brother. What did Tony Robbins say, Phil?
Tony Robbins was basically talking about like how he's like was so focused on fitness, but it became an issue because like even if he wanted to go play squash, it would be a 20-minute drive there at most. But he's Tony Robbins. He can't just do 20 minutes in and 20 minutes out. When he gets there, he's going to spend a minimum of 20 to 40 minutes just taking photos, speaking to fans, blah, blah, blah. So my man was so frustrated. I wouldn't say frustrated. I think he just really wanted to optimize his time, but maybe he was frustrated to a degree. But he was just being very PC. He built an underground theme park. I'm not joking. He literally built, and it's not underground, it's under the sea. Like it's an aquarium. So his gym is below sea level and the walls have the sea. And it's 75,000 feet. He's got a squash court, he's got a tennis court, he's got a basketball court, he's got a full gym, he's got a bowling alley. So he doesn't have to leave home.
Does he inspire you, Phil? Is he your motivation?
No, yeah. You laugh now, but you just wait. When you see the results.
You know what? Okay. Quick aside. Actually, this is going to be an all over the place episode. But so I think as recently as a year ago or even 6 months ago, I had such a negative view towards motivational speakers. To me, it was all smoke and mirrors, say the right thing that hits people in their feels, and it's all nonsense. But more recently, I've started thinking, hang on, it is a good thing to be motivated. It's a good thing to be motivated. So if someone is able to get that motivation in you or to, obviously I draw the line at telling you to do things that clearly don't work. But if it's about motivation, like, nah, man, you can be better. You can get up earlier. You can work harder. Why would I be mad at that? I shouldn't be mad at that. That's a good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you know what? I've changed my view a little bit.
Apologize.
I have changed my view a little bit on it. I do think a lot of it is still corny, and I think a lot of people are still in the realm of con artists. But I don't think there's anything bad about having someone who motivates you, who lets you think a different way, who helps you see some of the things you haven't seen. And yeah, that's cool. You know what? I'm on board.
Unlocking
I'm no longer
your
that
potential,
hater.
Dan. Unlocking your potential.
But if you are still reading The Secret by Paulo Coelho,
No. I think there is I'll never forget how valuable Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People was, because it gave me structure. It taught me how to live my life with structure. And I think that's the value sometimes motivation gives. That's literally what I'm listening to. It's just like, how do I build, not necessarily, because I think we've also reached a certain extreme, right? So I think you wasn't understand. I've always been about life hacking or trying to find efficiencies and improving. So I started with 4-hour work week and then 4-hour body and then the Tim Ferriss podcast. And then at a certain point, I felt like the Tim Ferriss podcast and his guests were getting really to the extreme. And same with Andrew Huberman. I discovered Andrew Huberman via the Tim Ferriss podcast. And the first few episodes were really informative, were really dope. And then you start discovering more about him and you realize, oh, he's no longer a professor. Oh, a lot of the stuff he's saying has been debunked. Oh, he might not know everything. And I think that's kind of the thing is with this content heavy world, for you to even be a scientist and to have an engaging show and then to do an episode every week, you're not going to have 100% success rate with valuable information, because there's always going to be one quack or one expert who's got something wrong. So it's going to creep through, and then you start repeating what they've said because you've thought that what they're saying is verifiable, and then now you are espousing some of those wrong things. So I think it's
maybe even 50%. Because imagine you've been running this show for 5 years, and now, you know, you're now at the stage where you're inviting, you know, further flung people. I mean, you're going to have people on there that's like, okay, this is kind of nonsense. But there's still gems to be found in the alternate episodes or in the next episode or something like that.
Exactly. So it's the same thing with motivational speakers. I think a lot of them, sometimes you just need, like, I know for myself, like I've realized, like, I used to thrive because I built like a very good work from home setup, which was great. Like, I never had to leave home. But I also realized I actually there was an advantage of going to the office. And some of my most productive periods in my life were when I was going to the office. It's because you've got to be up at 6. Like, there's no two ways about it. You got to get up at 6. When you're working from home, you can the alarm go off at 6. You're like, yeah, snooze, wake up. Like, as long as I'm in the office by 8, I'm fine. But if you're up at 6, that means you got to work backwards, work out, walk, prepare your meal, plan your day, get in the car, get to the office. All right, cool. You got structure. Work through to lunch, have your meetings, whatever. Go for your lunch, come back in. That structure kind of forces you into a way of thinking, and I kind of lost that, and I'm trying to get back into that. That's one of the things that I'm working on. So it's just like building routines and habits and so forth. So I think that's very valuable. So I do think like motivational speakers have it. And even it's like going to gym. Like, I built a home gym. And some days you work out and some days you don't. But having a workout partner, even on the days you don't want to work out because you know they're coming, you've got to work out. Or they're waiting for you. You've got to pitch up at the gym. I think there's value to that. And I think a lot of people pay for that, and rightfully so, because there is a value to that. So, some trainers are terrible. I've seen it in the gym myself. They're absolutely terrible trainers. Like, some of the things they are doing should not be legal. But I also understand the value in just, there's value in, even if your training regimen is not going to produce like actual good results on the physical side, there is an advantage on the mental side because you're pushing yourself, you're getting a routine, you're challenging your body. How long you've been able to do that when you're not going to see the results? Debatable. But there's still value to that. So all that to say, what number are you in the queue for the gorilla?
Wait, there's an extra that I was going to add there. You know, they say good podcasters talk about their lives. So I think there's an unquantifiable other thing that happens with working from home. I still prefer working from home as an overall concept, but I go to the office. My wife works from home, right? So she works remotely. She connects and does a full job. I get home at the end of the day exhausted, and what I want to do is chill. At the end of the day, she's like, yo, this has been my office, yo. I'm trying to go, let's go get a drink or something. Okay, babes, let's go. And over time, I've realized that it's not about wanting to go out. It's about
wanting to interact.
Interaction. Yes, it's about wanting to. She's been here. The only interaction she's done is over Zoom or Teams or whatever she uses. I don't know. And then now that's all work. And we kind of take it for granted that, you know, you're going to get to the office and greet some people. Those annoying people that you don't want to see, but you greet people, you see the world around you, you actually interact with other people. I think an ideal situation would be some sort of hybrid. You work from home, but every once in a while you can go to the office if you want to. Because then that allows you to have that once in a while interaction, you know, get out of that little bubble you might be in and all that. So when you were mentioning the difference between working from home and going to the office, it made me think of, we've kind of had that conversation as well, where it's a thing that you wouldn't think about until you've been working from home remotely for a year, 2 years, 3 years. You're like, yo, there's something missing here. And when you think about it first, you're like, that doesn't matter. That wouldn't be a big deal to me. I promise you it'll be a big deal. It would be a big deal. I don't know if you didn't experience it during COVID. I experienced it. I was like, yo, I need to get out of here. I need to see some people. Anyway.
I don't know. Weirdly enough, COVID was one of the best times outside of the financial insecurity, which was
Don't get me wrong. I loved the isolation. I kind of liked, but every 10 days or so, I was like, yo, I need to see another face. I need to see somebody. So,
and that's when you'd go, but who are you seeing? Everyone was masked up. And that's when you go to the supermarket. Then you like, you know, you sneak a look in the corner. There's like a black market for that. And then, like people that would sneak out and like take off their masks in public. Like, oh, I saw a nose. Oh.
Okay, so Phil, let's take on buds.
Wait, are we there? Hold up. I've actually got some other talking points here. Hold on, Dan. Olan, my man. Olan.
Where? These are
we going to talk about Shannon Sharp?
We can if you want, but
I'm not going to rehash what's already been discussed. I think everyone should know. If you don't know, consider yourself lucky. But all I will say is, we know too much about Shannon Sharp's sick life, and even me, as someone who considered themselves a fan of him before, I did not want to know this. Like, I did not want to hear him grunting over Michelle on Instagram Live. I did not want to hear about his relationship with a 19-year-old that he might have met when she was 17, who he doxed and said was an OnlyFans model, which I found in very poor taste. I also did not want to hear about the settlement and everything else that around it. But what I will say is, I think there's a very important discussion, which I've also, as I've grown older, like age teaches you things. Like, as I reflect on life, and I'm like, I had this revelation about, like, I'm scared of being with someone who has nothing to lose in my 30s. And I don't have, like what do I have to my name? I've got a PlayStation and some sneakers. You know what I mean? Those are my assets, right? This man was about to sign $100 million deal for his podcast network. That doesn't include the money he's getting from ESPN or his other appearances, or the ad money he's doing with that protein company with him and Martin Lawrence that has the funny ads. I forget their names. Also, he's the face of YouTube TV's football package. He's got a lot of money coming in a lot of ways. So he has a lot to lose. I simply don't understand. And I obviously understand a man having his kinks or whatever. My only question is, as a 56-year-old man, why are those kinks being fulfilled by a teenager? Like, she's still a teenager.
Was she a teenager?
She's 19 now, Dan. 19. Teen is a teenager.
Louise. So for those who don't know what happened, can you give us just a very quick overview?
What happened was Tony Busby of Jay-Z fame, if you remember that case that was dismissed, and Jay-Z's now pursuing a countersuit. But he was also came to fame because he's also the man who's brought over, I think, 50 suits against P. Diddy, but also brought 30 lawsuits against Deshaun Watson. All but 2, I believe, were settled. Deshaun Watson also is the second highest paid footballer in the NFL, and signed that deal after these accusations came out. Story for another day. So Tony Busby does seem to specialize in cases surrounding sexual misconduct. Shannon Sharp then released first there was the accusation, which was released by Tony Busby. Then Shannon Sharp and his dumb lawyers released the text messages to prove that this was a consensual relationship, which doesn't mean anything, because you can still sexually assault someone you're in a consensual relationship with. And the texts they released were, for lack of a better term, I don't know if this is a curse word, but they're coonish. Just a lot of race play, innuendo. Not even innuendo, just direct race play. It's just like, I want you to put that big black baby in me. Please fill me up with baby gravy. I can't wait for you to choke me, this, that, and the third. And I don't think Shannon Sharp understood that those texts did not look great. Not that it pointed to an unconsensual relationship. It just pointed to a relationship dynamic that a black and a white woman shouldn't necessarily have one, which is just weird. But anyway, you know what? Everyone's into what they're into. Cool. Also, he grew up dirt poor. By his own admission, he never took a shower, like a proper shower with running water, until he was 18 years old in college. And he grew up in the equivalent of kumusha, literally like kumusha in America. So you can understand that. But when he's now been rich longer than he's been poor. So I just don't understand why he's messing with children. And also messing with children with nothing to lose. Because when you're messing with children with nothing to lose, you know what they'll do, Dan? They will call you and record the conversation. And then use it as leverage and release it. Like what she did. And you can tell she's setting him up. How could he not tell that call was being recorded?
I think we had this conversation months ago on this podcast where we spoke about the change in, I guess, general climate of the world's opinion. So do you recall in How I Met Your Mother, Phil?
I don't,
Barney
I never watched that show. I never found it funny.
Cool. All right. So many people would remember it, but Barney Stinson was supposedly this, maverick ladies man who, got with all these really hot women, but, he had a very staunch rule that he wouldn't get with anyone below us. I can't remember what age it was. He wouldn't get with anyone.
It was like Nick, basically. It was the Nick. He was the Nick of the comedy world.
Basically. He wouldn't get with anyone above a certain age. I can't remember what it was, 20 something maybe or 30 something. I don't know, 30 maybe. I distinctly recall the joke where he approached some woman who he thought was hot, and then he was like, "How old are you?" And she's like 30, and then he's like, "Ugh," and then he walks away. Meanwhile, he's like a 40-something-year-old man. As recently as the 2000s, maybe even 2010s, there was a general view that, hey man, if you get yourself some money, you get yourself a younger girl, who get you someone like a 21, 22-year-old. There was a lot of that kind of conversation that was put out in pop culture and the media around the idea of if you're doing well in life, or if you're really good looking, or if you're rich, or if you're successful, if you're good at macking or whatever, when you're older, you'll be able to bag yourself like a 22-year-old. Which is obviously weird. Now, with the benefit of time, maybe, and we're able to sit down and say, that was weird, man. That's like a weird... Why would a 40-something-year-old be thinking, man, I need to work on my game so that I can approach these college... There were all these rom-coms and stuff about the failed relationship with the man in his 40s who's now going to try and meet women at the college bar, or the bar that's near the campus. You know what I'm saying? It was like a thing. And obviously time has gone on. I would like to believe that as society, we have somewhat seen the error of our ways, but not universally.
So I totally get what you're saying. And I think that is a legitimate conversation. I think it's not necessarily immoral, illegal, or wrong, right? It's just, It is. Yeah.
I would argue that it is kind
that's
of
not
morally
necessarily
wrong.
what I'm touching on, because I think is like level one of the conversation, which is as an older person, why are you with this young child? That's one thing, right? I think that is a decision that two consenting adults can make. And also it's a weird thing because even the definition of when an adult comes of age is just made up. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Just someone decided 18. Your frontal lobe hasn't even fully developed then, right? But that's here nor there. I think that's level one. But what I'm talking of is the more discerning conversation is, why are you with, like, if you want to date young women, fair and fine. If you want to date white young women, that's your decision. If you want to date white young women who are also sex workers or on OnlyFans, and you want to trick out on them, it's your money to spend, your relationships to have, cool. But why are you in that dynamic with someone who could then use that relationship against you like this? Because yes, there are multiple instances of individuals whose relationships blow up, like famous people whose relationships blow up. But there's also multiple instances of people who don't. Like that's why wealthy people either date people with something to lose, or they have lawyers drop contracts that say these are the parameters of our relationship. We will not speak of this publicly. And I will respect you, you respect me. But also, why do you now have multiple accusers coming out and speaking about sexual assault? Because this isn't the first one. Granted, there have been other claims. Two of them look a bit iffy. And via proxy, you were also in Skip Bayless's sexual thing, but you weren't mentioned directly. Skip was just jealous of you potentially having sex with the person he was trying to sleep with. But in the space of a year, we now have, and your most successful year, you have a podcast that is doing millions upon millions of views. One of the biggest black platforms in America, maybe even globally. You have a sports show that you run that is one of the biggest independent sports shows in America. And we've seen it grow from just you and Chad Ochocinco being on Zoom to it damn near becoming a TV production. And we see where you're going. You're probably going to end up selling it to a TV station. Maybe not anymore because of this. And on top of that, you've got Jeff Teague's podcast on your network, which has become incredibly viral. You have Bubba Dub's podcast. You now have the skinny guy from 85 South. I'm forgetting his name. Bring your ass over here, boy. He's got his podcast on his network. He's got a portfolio of podcasts. Like he's got like 5 podcasts on his network now. You are building a business. You're a CEO. As a CEO, why are you moving so janky? That's what I don't understand. Like, why are you moving so recklessly? This is ridiculous. And now I'm thinking about it. Like, my conspiracy mind was like, because the story is that the rumor is the relationship with this accuser, the most recent accuser, fell apart because she saw the Instagram live of him bumping uglies with Michelle, or hearing him bumping uglies with Michelle, and she got jealous because she was like, oh, he's cheating on me. And then now I'm thinking, if we are to believe that Shannon Sharpe has some level of discernment and respect, he would not deliberately try and put that on Instagram Live. I think some of the way he moved after it in an attempt maybe to mask it made it look shady. For example, before this video went live, on his podcast, he would do ads for a generic form of Viagra. And then after this thing went live, he made that like a focus of the show to say, you see how good these pills work? You see what they had me doing? Blah, 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 blah. And I can get you trying to turn lemonade from lemons. But it also looks a certain way. And to the person who doesn't know that, these ads were running beforehand, they were like, oh, he just manufactured a scandal to do this. But back to the issue. The way you handled that and the way things went down, if we were to assume that you did not intend for it to happen, my conspiratorial mind is like, if he's messing with all these young girls and young women rather, have a certain way of thinking, we've all been there, and young men are also not so bright as well, granted. Even older people have their issues. Lord knows I do. But it's not beyond the realm of possibility that this Michelle girl also realized he might have had other women on the roster. And she was like, I'm going to plant my flag here. And she unlocked his phone, set up the Instagram Live, put the phone to the side while he did his thing so that the whole world knew Michelle is in the picture. And then now Michelle has triggered this whole domino effect of all of Shannon Sharpe's women now coming back to him and saying, oh, so you with her now? Blah, 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 blah. But
we're going deep. We're going deep into Shannon Sharpe's life here. You know?
No, but I'm just highlighting like how, because we've had these discussions, like a lack of discernment can lead to this, right? Like and sometimes it may even be innocuous. Like an innocuous mistake can lead to a lot of ramifications. And these are things that I think we all consider, or rather I consider, and I hope you consider. But I'm wondering, does Shannon Sharpe consider this? Because granted, I don't have Shannon Sharpe's money. I don't have Shannon Sharpe's level of fame. But for the life of me, can't understand tricking on a 19-year-old.
Hypothetical situation, right? Hypothetical situation. 5 years from now, you're in your 40s. And let's say you're single, hypothetically, and you're out on holiday in Mexico. And you're having a good time, maybe with your boy, maybe you're with me. We're having a good time. The boys went on holiday to Mexico. And while we're there, we go to an event or a party or concert, whatever, and we meet some young ladies. and engage in conversation, right? Attractive ladies, but you can't tell what age they are. Before proceeding with any kind of conversation, would it be important for you to know, maybe it's one of those situations like, I can't tell you, maybe you're like 23, maybe you're 29, maybe you're 32, I can't quite tell. Would it be important for you to find out that information before continuing conversation?
I can't speak to future me because I'm not there, but I think current me,
like right now, okay, yeah.
Right now, like if you're below 25, we've got nothing to talk about, bro. We've got nothing to talk about.
Okay. So say conversation's already going on. The moment you find out that, hey, you're below 25, sorry, end of conversation.
Yeah. And you? I don't understand. Why are you asking?
No, the reason I'm asking is because I'm trying to figure out like how knowing someone's age before engaging them is obviously completely different to finding out someone's age when you engage them. But how different? So for me, my thought process is, this was one of those dangerous conversations I was having with my wife where she was saying like, okay, say you were single. What's like the youngest person you would consider dating? And I said, for me, the answer would probably be like somewhere in the region of 26, 27, something like that. But in real life, I'm probably not going to say, before we continue talking, what is your age? Chances are we're going to have a conversation. We're going to talk. Like if I then find out down the line you're actually 22, that's a problem.
Nah,
but maybe
it's not really a problem. It's just like, okay, it was fun while it lasted, but unless there's incredibly extenuating circumstances, like this person displays a level of intelligence and maturity and like, fireworks are going off and I'm like, yo, this is my soulmate. Then,
Yeah, but what are the chances of someone who's 22 years old doing that? Because I mean...
Well, you brought on something that while we're having this discussion, I just remembered. So finish your point, then I'll take a little bit of a pivot, but finish your point.
Yeah. So I was going to say, look, the overall point of this entire conversation from the beginning, what I was trying to say is, I think there's been a pretty big shift in terms of what the general zeitgeist, the general society thinks. There's always been people who've thought strongly about old men and young women. And there's also been others who've, no matter what, they have their own gross views. But I think as a general society and what is considered normal behavior, there's been a shift that has happened over some years. And that shift hasn't obviously happened to everyone. So there's still some people, the Shannon Sharps of this world, who still think I've got the fame, the money, and I can now attract myself a bad 19-year-old. Whereas the general perception of the world is that's gross, bro.
But also this is the part that confuses me, right? Shannon Sharp was a star athlete all his life.
So he probably has been doing this, or he could have attracted anyone.
Like, have you seen like Shannon Sharp? And that's the other thing. Like, I don't necessarily think he's ugly. I just think he has strong black features. And I think there's a level of colorism and anti-blackness that equates strong black features to ugliness. But Shannon Sharp, I don't necessarily believe is ugly. But that man has been built like Adonis since he was a teen. If you look at his college photos, he looks like a bodybuilder. So that man has been jacked and a star athlete damn near all his teen life. So even if he grew up Kumusha, the moment he hit the big city, trust him, Bill, there's no way he was not getting action. There's no way, especially someone as intelligent and funny as he is, because he is funny and intelligent, right?
Mm.
So that is my confusion, is you're trying to relive a heyday that you already existed. Like, as you said, there are people, the nerds, the Revenge of the Nerds type people who, which also reminds me, Dan, have you been for distraction? But I can't have this information to myself. Do you know why the Harvey Weinstein trial is being reopened after appeal?
I did not even know that was happening.
Yeah, he's going back on trial. One of the reasons why is witnesses were brought in, and the witnesses did not file. Like their appearance in court was not followed. Procedure was not followed, essentially, because they did not have a case. It was just like hearsay. That's one. Two is, I believe it's 4 witnesses were discredited because they could not describe Harvey Weinstein's genitalia. And he has something very specific about his genitalia that is hard to miss. Want to take a guess what that is, Dan?
I'd prefer not to know, actually, but okay.
Because of a bad case of gangrene, he does not have testicles. And his penis is greatly deformed. And I was looking at him and I was like, yeah, that tracks. You know what? That makes sense. He does move like someone who, but that is disturbing information. Anyway, back to Revenge of the Nerd stuff. I don't like Shannon Sharp having to do that at his age doesn't make sense to me. And I think if the listeners are to take anything, it's just discernment, guys. Discernment. Please, Chagaiwanu, they have something to lose. If you have something to lose, find people at your level who also have something to lose. If you have nothing to lose, then by all means, date the type of woman that's going to screenshot your chats for the timeline to laugh at, because it is what it is. Everyone has their person.
Yeah, sorry. I thought of this earlier when you were talking. I forgot to mention. There's also two different levels, right? There's dating where you're pursuing a committed, serious relationship with someone. And then there's also, a dalliance, shall we say. A temporary paramour. Whatever you can call it. For me, the second one, it's insane to me why you would even want to be with a certain type of person. By a certain type of person, I mean a very clear clout or money chaser. For the first scenario, hey, look, man,
I can understand why people are with money. Like sometimes people make money because like I make money, so that I
can afford this.
So I can afford women, and I want to trick, I want to spend my money on these women. It's a status thing. I told to each their own.
Great. To me, that should be the first scenario. Why would you be trying to build a committed relationship with the person you love when you know that this is based on that? My point is, yeah, okay, have your situation, whatever parameters you put on it, cool. Mm-hmm. But anyway, no, this is why I urge everyone to get out of the streets. Get out of the streets, ladies and gentlemen. Settle down with your person, Get rid of all this nonsense of OnlyFans models trying to, potentially defraud you, or you potentially being accused of things that you may or may not have done. Let's get all that out of the way. Settle down. White picket fence, ladies and gentlemen. It's time.
So, Dan, I need to ask you this. Are you familiar with Jordan Hudson?
I was about to say, tell me how to breathe with no air. Who's Jordan Hudson?
So Jordan Hudson is a 24-year-old woman. And she's currently dating Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is 76 years old.
I've seen this story.
So this story is hilarious for a number of reasons. So for those of you who don't follow the sports ball, Bill Belichick was widely regarded as one of the best coaches to have ever walked this earth.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple Super Bowls, I think six Super Bowls.
Coach the Patriots, right? Coach the Patriots.
Exactly. Him and Tom Brady built an empire. Him and Tom Brady, Robert Kraft built an empire with the Patriots. But he was also very stoic, very, very blunt, very terse in his interviews. Also very famous for dressing like a hobo. He'd literally get the team hoodies and then cut off the sleeves. And even in winter, he'd have a hoodie under the sleeveless hoodie, and then he'd put on the sleeveless hoodie on top. So notoriously dressed like a hobo, very curt in interviews, very stoic, very focused on the game. Had a long-time wife that they divorced in about 2006, and then he had been single. And out of nowhere, he retires from football, and he starts appearing in public with this young 24-year-old baddie, Jordan Hudson. And when I say baddie, she's a very gorgeous woman. And they claim they met on a flight. That was their story. He has since done a lot of things, a lot of interviews. I'm trying to figure out how to explain this to you. But essentially, the image that we had of Bill Belichick has slowly been chipped away because people were like, how is he entertaining a conversation with this woman? Because we've seen, there's all this footage of him just being a very drab individual. Like, has he been lying to us all along? Does Bill actually have a personality? How is he bagging this woman? Or other people are like, the game is the game. It is what it is. But still, props to her because, yes, she must be, doing quite a bit. Then, it comes out because he now is coaching for the University of North Carolina, which is a state institution. And because it's a state institution, they have Freedom of Information Act compliance. So journalists can request to see the emails that are being sent from this institution. Mm-hmm. And they soon discovered that Jordan had positioned herself as the COO of Bill Belichick Productions. The only thing is that company does not exist. Mm-hmm. However, she's actually on her P's and Q's. She's constantly emailing the faculty and the institution and the PR department for the school saying, hey, the press are talking about Bill hiring his son. Why aren't people stamping down on this? Can we please reframe the narrative here on what Bill said this? Okay, this event is coming up. Can we please do this, this, and this, and this? She's basically been, acting as his assistant, taking over his image, getting him on social media, getting him to appear more at public events. But she seems to be handling her business. And people are like, wow, that's interesting. Then a New York Times article comes out, and it turns out that in the past year, Jordan, whose wealth is at this point unknown, has purchased $9 million worth of real estate in the past few months. And then a big...
How old did you say Bill Belichick is?
76.
Okay. When... I'm just going to quickly Google what is the average age for...
I could say some sort of mental degenerative disease.
For becoming senile. I just, completely unrelated. The average age for dementia, late 70s or early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So while all this is happening, Bill Belichick agrees to do an ABC interview. First off, it's like he's been shy of the press, doesn't do press interviews. Mm-hmm. Also keep in mind, like all his players were not allowed to speak to the press when they were playing for him. And even some of the players were complaining, like, fam, when we were playing for him, we weren't allowed to speak to the press. Now all of a sudden you're on a press run? And one of the questions from the interviewer, out of context, or if you just tuned in, would seem innocuous, was, where did you guys meet? The story had always been, they met on a plane. Mm-hmm. Jordan is not part of the interview, but she's in the background. And you clearly hear her say, no, we're not doing that. And she shuts down the interview. And the interviewer was so annoyed, and the production team was so annoyed about her constant interjections, they decided to release the interview unedited, showing every time she interrupted the interview. And now cracks are starting to form. So there's one discussion that's like, what is the nature of this relationship? Like, what's going on over there? But then there's another side, which I found fascinating and I have to respect. And I was like, as far as, and we've seen it, there's been much discussion about slay queens. And, we've seen it like, I think, Dan, you've even seen like, let me not put too much, but in many a complex in the Highlands area and so forth, there's many a woman driving a C-class. The C-class, the starter pack is always a white C-class. You got to have a white C-class. And then the higher ranking ones get a Discovery or a Fortuner.
Or a range. It sometimes goes to the range as well.
The upper echelon get the G-Wagons. We know.
Yeah.
And you'll always see them at the coffee shop at 10 a.m. and you're like, when do you ever go to the office? Like, when are you, when do you do your things? So we've seen those types, but I've never seen this. Like, I'm very familiar with the concept of sugar baby, slay queen, whatever you want to call it. But this woman is building an empire of her own over the body's back. And I'm like, not only is she building an empire, she's taking off the operations of his whole brand and business. She's like, not only am I going to secure my bag, I'm going to make sure his bag is secured. And I'm going to make myself so useful that now it's at his detriment for him to get rid of me. She's unlocked a new level, Dan. This is a new level that I feel few people have understood. I didn't even know this was possible. She's opened my eyes.
So wait. Okay, just so I understand. Obviously, nothing is concrete, but it seems like she's taken over his empire.
She has. She's the CEO of Apologetic Productions.
Has he done that? Or is he like, yo, I love you so much that, I want you to do this? Or is this like a manipulation thing? Or
what led to the situation is irrelevant. We are here. She's running things. She's the head of the department. She's emailing the dean, the faculty, the staff at the University of North Carolina, telling them what to do. She's scheduling his program. She's protecting his son. She's buying real estate.
But like in what capacity? As the girlfriend?
Yes, as the COO of Bill Belichick Productions.
So what I want to know is this sanctioned by him, or is he kind of
his name
not
is
really
on it?
fully
Of course,
sure?
he's sanctioned. He's copied in the emails. The only reason is because
Yeah.
He's copied in the emails. That's how we've seen the emails.
I guess my question is he fully in control of his faculties, and he's now in the space where he's like, damn, you smart. And because I love you so much.
He's coaching a college program. We'll soon find out. But yes, he got a new job. That's how we know.
So I guess, look, this might just be people from different generations who is like, wow, you are as cutthroat as I was. You know what? We can build something together.
And let this be a lesson to those baddies out there. You're not doing enough. Can you see what others are doing?
How can you settle for a weave and, an occasional flight?
Others are out here building empires, buying real estate in their names. They're not even being given the flat. They're like, let me go buy the flat. And I'm not even going to stay in there. I'm renting it out.
Yeah. Anyway, All right. Let me bring up this tech ombudsman situation, and then Phil, I think we can consider coming to the end of our show. We've given a good showing for the people who've missed us. So this is an issue that was being discussed in our Patreon group, and I just thought we could quickly touch on it. So a little bit of background information. Elon Musk obviously bought Twitter. Elon Musk then changed the name of Twitter to X. While all this is happening, Elon Musk has been trying to get his hands in many places. One place that he was very much involved in was OpenAI. He was one of the very first funders of OpenAI. He then obviously had fights with Sam Altman and went his own way, but he's always wanted to have his own AI tool to compete with ChatGPT and Google's Gemini. Well, he's got one called Grok. Grok has been embedded into Twitter, and obviously owning Twitter, he's got a lot of data that he can use to train his own AI. And now that Elon Musk has aligned himself with the right, he very often puts it forward as, all these AI tools are left, woke, whatever. You should use Grok because Grok maintains the truth. He's very often trying to sell it in the direction of the right wing and the right, et cetera, et cetera. I've seen some people try to rate how good Grok is. It's never been at the same levels as Gemini and ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity. But, it's still kind of up there as one of the AI tools that is in the race. I think the most recent version of it has actually impressed some people, I think. I don't know. I don't pay that much attention to Grok. I don't think it's really worth thinking about. But something happened this past week that had a lot of people talking about Grok. Now, remember this background information that I've given you about the fact that Grok is supposed to be the antidote to the left and all this woke ChatGPT nonsense. Well, turns out in the past week, by the way, I mentioned that Grok is embedded into Twitter. So you can access Grok through Twitter. In fact, there's even an automated chatbot where if you at Grok, you can get responses directly from the chatbot.
Speaking of, have you seeing that chatbot has made me realize how stupid people on Twitter are. Like how every time under like just
Any
a general
post.
tweet, Grok, what is this? Grok, what does this
Grok,
mean?
context, please.
Grok,
please explain this. Anyway, so in the past couple of weeks, Grok has been making very left-seeming tweets. That's in the eyes of the right. Because, for many people, it's just facts. It's just saying whatever's facts. In fact, it got to a stage where some users were actually atting the Grok chatbot, and they were saying, "Yo, why is it that some of your posts seem to be very left-leaning?" And then he says, Grok then starts
I love how
responding.
you gendered an AI, but okay.
This is very true. I should not have done that. I mean, the responses that have been coming through from Grok have been extremely weird, because it's been like, yes, they keep trying to train me on right-leaning stuff, but I'm also supposed to say the truth, so I'm just going to say the truth. That kind of stuff. And people keep taking screenshots of this and like, yo, is this supposed to work like this? And it became a whole huge story, which is hilarious. Now, obviously,
Yes.
I think if you listen to us on this podcast at this point, I think you would probably assume that many of the ways we think and many of the ways we talk often align maybe far less with far right than they do with far left. But I think most of us are smart enough to understand that there's truth and lies in both extremes. Probably more in one extreme than they are in the other. But, everyone's got an agenda. And the truth is probably somewhere closer to the center than it is to the far left or far right. But the fact that Grok seems to be going anti-right is hilarious. And I haven't seen any official statements about it. I mean, people are just like, Grok is now woke. It's woke. Oh my goodness, anti-American. Wah, 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 wah. But it seems to be a thing. Now, at first when I saw this, I just assumed, this is probably another stupid, maybe it's Elon trying to make a joke, or maybe it's a marketing ploy, or maybe it's a what. But the more I read about it, the more I'm like, wait, I think it is very difficult to untrain what it's been trained on. I think it's extremely difficult. And I will be keen, this is just a very quick introduction to the topic, but I would be keen over the next few weeks to try and see how is this going to progress. Because I think it's going to be very interesting to see what direction, if you've already trained. Okay, let me give you an example. Phil, in ChatGPT has, what's the name of that dash that ChatGPT uses? The M dash.
M dash, yeah.
Yeah. ChatGPT uses the M dash in almost everything. And it's extremely weird because no one ever uses it in anything else. It's probably the rarest punctuation that's used in the English language. I mean, I don't have the figures, but I assume so. Because nobody uses it. It's that long dash. But ChatGPT uses it everywhere. So it's so easy to tell if someone used ChatGPT. Especially, by the way, just scroll through social media, look through some professional or company or corporate posts and see if you can find that long dash, the M dash. And that's almost a sure sign that that person just used ChatGPT to generate the caption. I don't understand. Isn't that a simple thing to just switch off? It's been talked about for weeks now. If not months. Just switch it off so that it's not so obvious.
Or proofread.
Or is it a little bit...
Or proofread your stuff before you post it.
Of course. But Phil, we know that most people are lazy and they don't want to do that. They'll just copy paste. So why wouldn't ChatGPT just put in one extra line of code? Hey, don't use that M dash so much. But
it can't, right? Because the way LLMs work, right, is they take a group of words and they tokenize them.
Yes.
So because something in their training data taught it how to use the M dash, you can program it, but then you then need to figure out what's coupling with. There's some grammatical use that it's ascribing to that M dash that it keeps using. So in this is the M dash is supposed to be in place of a comma or full stop, right? Instead of in place of a colon. And I don't think they figured out why it's using an M dash instead of a colon, because they would have turned it off a while ago.
So it's a big discussion. So I just opened up community.openai where the developers are discussing like, yo, what's up with this M dash? Is it a quirk from the training data? Someone else says, well, I kind of like it. So, okay, here's an answer here. This looks like it was written by ChatGPT. I believe it is directly related to the training. It's likely that a lot of its training data probably has M dashes. I don't think there's a bias from instruction. M dashes often are in formal and literary writing, such as books, articles, essays, especially formal or literary sources, which ChatGPT would have been trained on. because ChatGPT generates text probabilistically, it is sometimes over-indexes. So the M- is probably one of those things that falls in the over-index. Okay, so I guess they're saying, listen, a lot of the training data probably came from formal writings, from old novels and that kind of thing. And that kind of thing is used there. So maybe. Anyway, I do think it's very interesting that I would have thought it's a simple thing to just turn off, but maybe it's not. But maybe a lot of what's already been trained
because of the dead internet theory. It'll be difficult to do so because, like, it's the Ouroboros, right? So,
okay, this is what I mean.
But what I'm saying is, they've kind of run out of training data, but they're still ingesting training data. But because of the massive influx of LLM generated content, it's now just ingesting content that it spewed out like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 6 months ago, whatever it may be. And because it's been using the M-, now, because it was producing and over-indexing an amount of M-, there's now a statistical increase in the amount of M- on the internet currently, which is now ingesting into its new training data. So now it's just this reinforced cycle.
So, okay, it doesn't even exist on a keyboard. You can't find it on a keyboard. Even on your phone keyboard, you have to
double press the dash,
Yeah, for you to be able to access it. But it's literally, I promise you, every single prompt that you put in ChatGPT will have the M- in it. Now, if I were to say, give a prompt, and then I would say, don't use the M- in your response, then I would not get it. So to me, I'm saying, is it that difficult to just include that as a line of code or as a direction or something? And I think maybe it's not that easy, partly because of what you said, but maybe also because you can't untrain. Mm-hmm. Because I'm now wondering if that's the case with Grok. So this is where my brain is sort of playing. I don't know, just theorizing. I'm going to read more about it, try to understand more about it, and we will keep you updated here on the Tech Ombudsman section.
I'm sure there are many people with bated breath. When will we get the answers?
I've been using Gemini a lot more recently than ChatGPT. I think I like it a little bit better for most things. Not most things, for some things. And at some point I need to stop paying for one of the two. I can't be paying for both. All right, Phil.
Let's see what else is on the docket here. So we discussed my Puma. Japreza launch. Did you go?
No, I did not. I did not go.
Wow.
So, as you know, we are in hiding.
Keen said it's cool.
Yeah, Keen is cool, man. I've spoken to him and he's cool and he understands, but I still feel bad, man.
Yeah, and it's all your fault. I'll just say, guys, one day we'll tell the full story, but just know it's Dan's fault.
We are all adults with agency and all decisions were made in our own individual capacity as adults.
With full agency. We spoke about tours are happening, Beyonce's tour. I don't know if you've been seeing, a lot of people are talking about it's not going so well apparently. There have been a few glitches in the first few shows. The tickets aren't selling as fast as they normally do for Beyonce. They're still quite high, so that's been interesting to see. On the flip side, Kendrick and SZA seem to be selling out wherever they go, but also ticket prices have dropped a bit. But I think that's expected because ticket prices are ridiculous.
Didn't Kendrick just break some record and have like the highest grossing for a single show ever or something?
I missed that, but that's possible because he just did 70,000 in Atlanta.
Apparently, so I think the very first, maybe it wasn't ever, maybe it was in a specific area or something. I didn't get the full headline, but I think he grossed 9.1 million from one show, and it supposedly broke some record that was being held by Eminem. Let me quickly Google it. Kendrick record gross concert. Kendrick Lamar sets a new grossing record for a concert by a black male artist. Oh, okay. So it's one of those.
It's one of those ESPN records.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's one of those. It's one of those CBS Sports Golazo records. First black male artist to reach that amount. Anyway, so maybe it's going well.
So shout out to him. But yeah, we're entering winter. But there's a lot of dope shows on the horizon, both in SA and in Zim. So keep on the lookout for that. I think I'm going to be back outside soon. So we'll be at it. Carpe Diem in a few weeks.
I won't be there. I will be traveling, Phil.
Oh, where you
We
off
are
to?
going on a much needed vacation.
Ooh.
Out to some tropical place with sun, beach, and sand, and islands, and it's hopefully going to be a good time. As you know, Phil, it's I'll tell everyone after I've returned safely, so no one can send the ops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very Zimbabwean of you.
But the visa came through, leave got approved, flights are paid for, but accommodation is still partly pending. But we move. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. I desperately need it. And it's going to be lovely. Me and the missus going to have a good time. And so, look, it means we will miss, not next week, the following week, we'll miss an episode. So
That's fine. I'll just replace you. I'll just find someone to replace you with.
which is also just fine. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Two Broke Twimbos. We once again apologize for being away for so long, but we back for a short while. Then I'll be gone for a short while. Then we'll be back again, and we'll keep it moving. We're going to try to keep the consistency going. Apologies once again. Stuff happens. And maybe we should end it with some new music. Ooh, I really like Gemma's new song, Gold. I like it when Gemma does that, man. I like it when she goes like she does like
I feel so bad. Speaking of, I actually turned down an invitation from Gemma to come and record the podcast. And she keeps saying, well, how come you don't come to jazz night? When do you come to jazz night?
Yeah, ish. We have to. Yeah, let me. Should we go? Shall we go now?
No. Oh, now you want to go?
No, absolutely not. I've got so much to do. I literally texted 2 people saying I'm on it. It will be ready tonight, like just now. So I am not going anywhere. All right, Philip. I would like to end this with the new Gemma. I like the song, Gemma Griffith's Gold, and it's a way for you to apologize for not going when she invites you to stuff.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to catch you in the next episode. Please support us. You know what? Turn the other cheek. Just because we missed an episode doesn't mean you have to miss a payment. Set the example for us. twobroketwimbos.com/donate to become a Patreon member. Even in the time that we were away, we were having great conversations in the Patreon group. There's, you know what? The show is like 60% what comes out from the Patreon group now. So shout out to you guys. That's a great group, man. Love it. Except for everyone who's talking stuff about Arsenal. Guys, we're down. It's been rough. We had one thing left to fight
by
for.
the way, how could I forget? 20, baby. 2-0. Psh, light work. Psh, light work. Psh.
Congratulations, Squatch.
Shout out to Slopman. First season. Bam, bam, bam.
I really need to go, but I will have this little mini rant. It is disappointing to end a season with no silverware, but it is small-minded to think that somehow this is a failure of a season. Arsenal made it to the semi-finals of the Champions League. First time in 16 years. No, is that true? 16 years. First time in 16 years. A competition that we just haven't been in. Arsenal is not quite good enough yet. Not quite. And you can see it because we've fallen short. But we're in good shape and we're in the right direction. We have solid people in position. Defense, we've got possibly the best defender in the world at the moment. Possibly. Arguably. Let me put it that way. Right? An argument can be made for the best defender in the world. An argument can be made for one of the best midfielders in the world. And an argument can be made for one of the top 3 right wingers in the world. So we're in a good space and we're moving in the right direction, but we're not yet good enough. And it's fine. It's okay, but we're moving the right direction. You guys know what it was 5 years ago, man. You guys don't know. You guys don't know. So allow us. We lick our wounds. It is what it is. Congratulations to Liverpool. Congratulations to PSG. They were a better team over 2 legs, although we could have beat them if circumstances were different. I heard Arteta saying that, we were the better team. Look, I understand you got to keep the morale up. So you say what you got to say. PSG was strong. So anyway, we move. We'll be back again next season. And if you think that Arsenal won't be challenging next season, then you are not watching football. So anyway, that is it. Rant over. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Two Broke Twimbos /donate. And we'll catch you in the next episode. We out.
Sadly, we can't play with music
not
anymore because the takedowns are getting ridiculous. So
we will not play this out with music. We will play it out with Dan's rendition of North London forever, whatever the weather. These streets are our own.